Okay guys, we're going to be talking about converting mixed numbers using place value. So we have some of our place values here. We have thousands, hundreds, tens, ones place. Of course, these are all the positive whole numbers. And they can keep going, right? 10,000s, 100,000s, a million, and so on and so forth. But we're just going to have a little bit here on this example. And what we're really going to focus on is after this decimal point. We have our decimal point, and then we get into the parts of a number. So we have our tenths, hundreds, thousands. What this means is that we have this part of a number, and if it's in this first place value, it's going to be some number, x, out of 10. Now, this x, remember, it's not the time symbol, it's the letter x. It's a variable holding the spot of a number, so some number out of 10. If we go to two place values, that's going to be some number out of 100 because it's the hundredths place. And then if we go 3 digits after the decimal, that's going to be out of 1,000, some number out of 1,000. So if I have, for example, a number here in this tenth spot, so we have 0.9, that's 9/10. What this is telling me is that it's going to be 9 out of 10. So not a whole number, but this place value will be 9 out of 10 because it's in the 10th spot. So we're going to use that to help us convert between fractions and decimals. So what we're going to do is we're going to focus on these place values. So our first place value is tenths. That means my fraction can be out of 10. So we're going to write our multiples of 10. So some numbers that I can multiply to get 10 are 1 and 10, 2 and 5, and that's it. Now, if we have 1 or 10, that's not really going to help us. That means it's already out of 10, so we're really not going to use this one. What we're really going to use is the 2 and 5 to get to 10. We're not going to use 1, and we're not going to use itself. If it's already 1, then it's already a whole number. For 100, we have a lot more there. So we're going to do, I could do 1 and 100, but again, that's not really going to help me too much. If it's already 100, then I don't need to do anything. If it's a 1, then that means it's a whole number, so that's not going to help me either. But what we can do is 2 and 50. Let's see, 4 and 25, 5 and 20, and 10 and 10. So those are my factors of 100. And then for 1,000, again, I can have 1 and 1,000, but that's not really going to help me too much. I can do 2 and 500, 4 and 250. Now, if you look at it, 1,000 is really just 100 with an extra 0, so it's kind of these same things. 2 and 50, 2 and 50 with an extra 0 on one of the numbers. 4 and 25, 4 and 25 with an extra 0 on just one of the numbers because just one extra 0. So then I can also do 5 and 200. I can do 10 and 100. Sorry, 100. What we could also do is add a 0 to these. So it could be 20 and 50. Let's see, 40 and 25. Actually need to make a couple more here. 50 and 20. Oh, I already have that one though. Right, 20 and 50 is the same thing. And then 10 and 100, it's the same thing, 110. But what I really, really want, and this is really, really the key one, is 8 and 125. This one's really the one that we're going to be using for the thousands place because it's really common that we have a fraction that's out of 8. So we're going to be using the 125 here. So those are my factors. I can use those for my place values to scale it. So I have my whole number 2 and then a fraction 11/50ths, but we want to convert it to a decimal. So I know since my whole number is 2, my whole number is going to stay 2. It's going to be 2 point something. This fraction part is going to tell me my decimal, my place value to the tenths, hundreds, or thousands. Okay, so if I have 11/50ths, so I have 11 out of 50, I'm going to draw a ratio table. I'm going to say, okay, right now my denominator is 50. Now my options are tenths, hundreds, thousands. So I want my fraction to be out of 10, out of 100, or out of 1,000. Right now my fraction is out of 50, so I'm going to look at my first option, 10. 50, I cannot go from 50 to 10 because we can't simplify this one. We can't make it smaller. So I'm going to try 100. Can I go from 50 to 100? Yes, I can, because 50 is one of my factors. So we're going to go ahead and make our goal to the 100. So I know that my answer will be to the 100 spot. So I'm going to do 50 times 2 is my other factor. Times 2 times 2. 11 times 2 is 22. So I have 22 hundredths. Since I know that it's 22 out of 100, I can write that as my place value, 22 hundredths, 0.22. I know that I should have 2 digits because it goes up to the hundredths, so it'll be 2, 2 here. Now I have 5 and 4/5. My whole number is 5, so I'm going to go ahead and write 5 point. And then I'm going to focus on my fraction will give me my decimal part. That's going to go right here. So I have 4/5. I write it in my ratio table. I'm going to start off with my first place value, 10. Can I go from 5 to 10? Yes, I can. 5 is one of my factors. So we can do 5 to 10. Let me do it purple, actually. So to go from 5 to 10, we're going to go ahead and multiply by 2. Multiply by 2. 2 times 4 is 8. Now you can also go to 100 if you're already used to going to 100, because 100 is our magic number that we can get a lot of stuff from. We can do percentages, we can do other stuff. So what we're going to do is you can also go to 100 by doing times 20, and you'll get 80. So you could get 0.80, 5 and 80 hundredths, right? But we know that we don't need to have the 0 there, so it's also 8/10, right? We can get rid of both those zeros, 8/10. So 8/10 or 80 hundredths, both ways are perfectly fine, however you want to write it. Oops. There we go. Both ways are perfectly fine. Just know you don't need the 0 at the very end if that's what you get. You can write 8/10 or 80 hundredths. You can put that 0 if you want it. It's all talking about the same number. And then lastly, we have 11 and 5/8. So I know my whole number is 11, so it's going to be 11 point something. And then we want to figure out what's going to be my decimal. So I'm going to focus right here on this 5/8. So we have 5/8. I want to get to one of my place value options, which are my tenths, my hundreds, or my thousands. So let's try 10 first. Can I go from 8 to 10? Nope, 8 is not one of my factors here. So then I try the next one, 100. So I look, I have no 8 as one of my factors of 100. 1,000, yes, remember we couldn't fit it here, but it is part of it. 1,000, 8 and 125 give me 1,000. So we are going to write 1,000 here. And I know that my other factor is 125. You really are just going to have to memorize this. We talked about it earlier this school year. 8 and 125 give you 1,000. So that's going to be my pattern here. So if we want 125 times 125 times 125, I'm going to have to do 5 times 125. I will have to actually work this out. 125 times 5, 5 times 5. You can pause it and work it out and then play it after to see if you get it right. But let's do it. 5 times 5 is 25. So there's a 5, carry the 2. 5 times 2 is 10, plus the 2 is 12, carry the 1. 5 times 1 is 5, plus the 1 is 6. So we get 625 out of 1,000. So this means 11 and 625 thousandths. You have to make sure that it ends in the thousands place, okay? Now this is not one of your examples, but I do want to do it with you really quickly if you want to flip your page over real fast. Let's see. Let's do 3 and 1/20, because I do want to talk about making sure that we're putting our number in the right place value. So flip your paper over, write this on the back. 3 and 1/20. So we have 3 is our whole number, so we're going to go ahead and write 3 point. And then I have my fraction 1/20. So I have 1 out of 20. My first option is 10. I can go from 20 to 10, but I can't go from 1 to that and have a whole number. It'll be a decimal. So we're going to go ahead and add another 0. I can go from 20 to 100 times 5 times 5. So we're going to do 1 times 5. So this is 5 hundredths, right? I know my hundredths has 2 digits, but I only have 1 digit. This means I have to write my 5 at the end of those digits and put a 0 there. So it's 3.05, not 3.5. 3.5 would be 5 tenths, right? If this would be wrong, 3.5, that would be wrong because 5 is in the 10th spot. It's not 5 out of 10, it's 5 out of 100. So it needs to be not in the 10th spot, because this would be 1 out of 10. It needs to be out of the 100th spot. So just making sure that we would put any zeros for that blank, that if it's out of 100, we need to make sure that that number ends in the 100. Here it's out of 1,000, so my third number, it ends in the thousandths, okay? So now that we've done the notes together, you're going to go ahead and do the fish activity, and you have 6 problems. You're going to scale them. You can use these notes, help each other if you need to help each other quietly and respectfully. We're not just giving answers, we're helping each other. Everybody should have their work on their paper. You can work out your questions on the back, split up your paper into 6 parts, and go ahead and scale those and convert them from a mixed number to a decimal.